Hi there folks, welcome to another episode of Stir. I'm your host John Valentine, ably assisted by Michael. Today we're going to make an Italian style sauce. It's great to use with pastas and great to use with a pizza base, really on your preference and how you like to eat your Italian meals. Right, and we're ready to put all our ingredients together. Take a healthy handful of fresh basil straight from my garden. Throw in some oregano also from the garden, just removed from the stem. That was about a tablespoon of oregano. I'm going to add in 2 chilies. Now typically speaking you don't have to add in the chili, but I like it, so I'm adding it in. We add in a generous spoon, in this case heaped teaspoon of garlic. Himalayan salt. A large pinch of coarse black pepper. Generous dollop of olive oil, or an oil of your choosing. Now, the reason why I decided to do this sauce today is I noticed my tomatoes are starting to turn, starting to get a couple of dark rings and patches around the crown. Very simple, we don't want to waste anything in this house. I'm going to remove that crown, circular motion, like such. Okay, that'll go into my garden. Rather than removing the top, which is typically the case over here, you lose quite a big chunk of the tomato. And of course, all the healthy bits are in the skin, so we want to keep that intact. So all I'm going to do is quarter my tomatoes like such. There's a couple of nasty bits, just going to remove those. Nothing goes to waste, even the nasty bits go into my garden. Why are we doing this in particular today is that, for those of you who don't know, is World Food Day has come and gone again. And with all the hunger that we're experiencing in the world at the moment, surely the last thing we want to do is demonstrate how we waste. So everything gets utilized, even offcuts of previous dishes, even from the hamburgers last night. There's a big piece I want to remove there. That'll go into my garden. Right, there we go. Italian sauce ready to go, using not specific volumes and quantities, but again, what we've got lying around the house. Right, so our ingredients are ready to blitz up, but while I was talking about World Food Day, it reminded me about some horrific statistics. Did you know that 1/3 of all food production goes to waste? Now, if you think there's about 800 million people that starve every single year, it's a huge indictment on the greed and corruption around the world, and people going hungry every single day. Why don't we start at home, reducing waste? Alright, so our mixture is ready to blitz up in the food processor. Today I'm going to make it relatively fine, and the reason for that is we want our end result to be fairly pasty and dry as possible. But because we've got tomato in here, of course, it has a huge amount of liquid in it that we're going to have to cook down and reduce. And rather than pouring away that excess juice, we're rather going to cook in it and let it disappear naturally from heat, rather than throwing away all of that goodness into a drain and then losing what the typical flavors you would have in that moisture. So we're going to make it of such a texture that it can be applied to a pizza. Right, so our mixture has now been blitzed up, pulsed to the point that you can see, fairly granular still, and is now ready to add to the stove. Right, now we've got our mixture in a medium-sized pot. I've set the stove on a medium heat. This is something you're going to have to stir fairly regularly. Initially, while it's still got quite a bit of moisture, not so much, but as it reduces down to the pasty texture that we're looking for, it's going to be likely to stick to the bottom of your pot, and we obviously want it to be nice and fairly moistureless to apply to a pizza base. Right, so our Italian sauce has been on for about 8 minutes. You can see the texture is correct. Our moisture is reduced quite substantially. I've now put it onto a lower heat. It's at this point now that I would remove it if I would be using it for a pasta. If we were using it for a pizza, which we are going to be doing later, it probably needs another 5 minutes. Right, so we reduced our mixture for a further 5 minutes and I've now taken it off the stove. As you can see, we reduced it to the point where there's practically no moisture. If you did throw in a bit too much olive oil or something along those lines, there's nothing stopping you from just scooping it to one side, scooping it out, and making your mixture relatively dry. Right, so our beautiful Italian style sauce is completed. The aromatics are filling the entire house. I must tell you, it's a thing of beauty, and I can't wait to put it onto my pizza. Come and taste, Michael. Let us know what you think. Right, so look. Perfect. That's ready for pizza, baby.